Senator Ihara.
Mr. President, I rise in opposition to this nominee.
Please proceed.
If the motion was to vote down a nominee, I would go reservations. But we don't have reservations for no, so I'm a clear no. And I'm clear no because I can accept that as one of our 25 citizens in this chamber, I could be wrong. But I'm trusting my civic sensibilities, and I'm going to make the best judgment I can. Like I said, I'm using my political tool, my vote, for a civic purpose. And so what is the civic purpose? I am looking for land board members, just like Hawaiian Homelands members. These are two boards that have legal fiduciary responsibilities. They are trustees. And trustees for the state and to protect and steward our natural resources, the uses of our state resources, and our state public lands and beaches, water. They're public resources. You don't own those things. And this nominee did start out as a steward. We've been in battles together, and he's been one of my heroes. That's how it goes. There weren't many of them around back when he was there. So he would stand out. But it's not like a court where you try to be fair. The judge has to be fair. The judge is a trustee for the state. It's not, this is not, we're going to balance something. So as a trustee and a steward of resources, he started out that way. And I believe, in my judgment, is that what I call power creep. When you're in power for a while, it kind of, you get used to it. You want to do good, so you be efficient. And you move fast as you can, and you try to bring everyone along, but if you can't, you can't. And I think we forget, especially like here, to me, every time we make a decision, we need to look at in people's eyes. Like I say, the way we relate to the people is we kneel, because we're the ones with power. And power is the one that's responsible for this space, the safe space, all the quality. We are responsible. And after a while, and I'm talking about myself as well, because there is, intellectual humility kind of drains away a little bit because of the job we have to do. And so we kind of forget that that civic spaces are sacred spaces. They're not, we treat them as political spaces because political decisions, as I said, there's two things. One is a political leader decides what's good and then how we get there. So we have two powers that are self-justifying. And so I know it's hard. It's hard to move out of the family, personal values, reciprocity. And those reciprocities do not belong in a civic space. We're not to favor others or demean others in the civic space. They're all equal. And we need to treat it like that. And we're noticing, systemic racism, we're noticing that, but we also need to notice that how we treat dissidents, how we treat people with different views. I've done it. I've inadvertently diminished them. I've actually thought that they were lesser than me. How dare I? And I did. I have. And we all have. And this nominee is so well and good that he's effective. And he's not the only one that utilitarian values sometimes trump human relationships. I do appreciate the nominee. Actually, the nominees, all the nominees I spoke to, I mean, they were honest. I'm shifting, I tell people, advocates lie. Because advocates will purposely omit data points that will undercut their position. And sometimes they exaggerate some data points to advance their position untruthfully. So I had a truthful conversation with him, and I really, really do honor him for that. Because he did that not knowing how I'd vote. That means a lot to me. And it's just my one vote. So I don't know, like the other nominee, I don't know how the majority will be. I know, and so all I can do is vote based on what I can do. I have found the nominee the last couple of years have, I want to backtrack. To the credit of the nominee, I think, are on the same page. And I'll tell you a couple of things that we are on the same page. And so I could vote for him. But what's my civic purpose? I have found that on the minutes, one of the issues of the minutes, the nominee and I had a disagreement, in fact, even the chair. And I had to explain that once you're a move-on, you step up and you make a motion. Until you step down, everything you say counts. You can make mistakes, but the vote sticks on what you say. He had said, to his credit, next time you'll sit down and say whatever gallonage or whatever numbers that were incorrect, but it was said during the motion as a move-on. If he was on the floor debating and gave wrong information, that's okay, because we are voting on the move-on motion. And he, as a move-on, misstated it, but that's what they voted on. And no minutes can correct what happened in the room. And I'm a little bit forceful on this, not because they're bad people, because I think they're well-meaning. Well-meaning. I mean, I'm proud of them, because they're not, the private marketplace is not open at DLNR. It used to be. I was involved in politics for 30, 40 years. And DLNR, the land board, leases, that's a marketplace. That's how you help. In Hawaii, we've got good people in government, but when you have to raise money for your campaign, you want to stay on the line, and you try to stay on the right side of it, but some people cross it, inadvertently probably. There were times during the Babatata time it was done purposely, and they thought they could get away with it. And that's when I rolled out a 60-foot scroll of all of the millions of dollars of campaign funds that were blatantly given for quid pro quo purposes. Anyway, this doesn't happen. So, I think it's ironic that we have probably what I consider the cleanest, non-transactional executive branch we've had in a long time. So it's ironic that we find what would be considered, maybe some people will call it corruption. I don't consider it. It's political corruption. It's political. What it is political expediency. There's political goals. And what it is we're doing it so the minutes, he did it the way he did it because that was the most efficient way to do it. But when you did it, he wasn't looking into people's eyes. It was can I say it? Something a letter, blank, you, to them. He didn't mean it, but that's what happened. That's how people feel. So he is, I think, now open to hear people's truths. You know, a lot of times, oh, I don't want to hear it. You know, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear it. But the second thing is on the being a steward. And I found the Carla Hilton example. Let's see, how would I say it? Both on whether it's a violation as well as, well, the least amounts. You know, where public, how valuable is the use of public resources? And I think the default should be it's valuable. It's as valuable as, I mean, it's priceless. And so we start with, we have value, and then we try to utilize it with the private sector, and that's good. But the default should be on our side, on the state side, because we have a fiduciary responsibility. Maybe I'll just close by saying that if the nominee is confirmed, which we'll see, I just don't know, I hope that whatever he's learned in this advice and consent process will be used. And he did say, and I do want to, interesting, I'm kind of lifting up the person I'm going to vote down on. But he did say in one of our conversation, actually he wrote it, he says now, I guess it's if he's confirmed, I will always ask myself before I vote on anything, what is the civic purpose? Thank you.
Thank you. Any